Holy frickin' crap, everybody! It's me, Monster Mack. What, did I scare you again, Trainee?
No, you test the mic right before you do it, and then you freaking scream as loud as possible. Just nowhere near as loud as when you asked me to check it.
So when I test the mic, I should yell into it then, like, testing, testing. I should do my normal volume?
Yes, stop it.
That is my normal volume, though. You know I like to get excited when the Mack cast comes on. We got another one for you, people. Can you believe it?
I can barely believe it. We banged like 3 out this month. That's crazy for us. Are we back? Is that it now? Are we just going to podcast like crazy?
For all you skeptics who thought the last Mack cast was going to be the last Mack cast, I'm sure there was somebody out there.
2 days ago?
Yeah. We got another one for you, bitch.
They're like, oh, Mack cast hit 30. They're done. They're done 30 episodes. It's over.
We got a special for you this time because we're breaking. No, it's really special this time though, Trainee, because this is for the first time ever. We got double trouble for you, double duty.
What? What?
You know, the first time ever we got a tag team on the Mack cast. More than one guest. It's going down. Trainee, let them know what's happening.
Hold on, but what about like with Scott Levesque and Dan Strikes? We had them too in the.
That didn't count. That was the Family Feud episode.
What about the episode with Pyro and Davey was there?
Davey was there. That was the drunken episode. Come on, Trainee. Get with it, brother.
So that. All right, dude.
This episode, since Trainee doesn't have his shit together this week, and he doesn't do the normal announcing, I'll kick it off. This episode, we got the tag team D.U.I, old buddies of mine. We got Will Thorne in the house from ACW, kicking it way back. He's one of the former, one of the started it off.
I don't think I like that ACW was the first thing you
No.
associated. I don't think I like that
me and you,
associated
brother,
me with
that's
that
how we
right away.
started. And we got Thomas Ryan Kellen. Thomas Ryan Kellen.
That's how I'm listed in the phone book.
Yes.
Thomas Ryan Kellen,
He's in the house, brother.
Hard to see punctuation, you know.
You guys see why he never does the intros, right?
Well, you didn't like that? That was good, wasn't it?
It was pretty good, yeah.
No, that was a great introduction. Thank you.
I swear to you, Will, that he calls you Michael Thorne now more than when your name was Michael Thorne.
Well, Redemption was the one that took care of all of that for us.
Yeah,
So.
Just like the last 2 episodes, he called you Michael Thorne. I'm like, not his name anymore. It's okay, though.
That changed like 10 years ago, right?
It's been a while, dude.
Solid 6, at least, Mac. At least a solid 6.
We usually do Mac news, but there's no Mac news because we just did a podcast 3 days ago, and nothing has happened since then. What'd you do? Anything?
No, unfortunately, no. I made promises, and I didn't keep them. That's pretty much what went down.
So you did something.
Yeah.
You let somebody down. That's what you did. Oh, my God. Why are you... What promises did you make, dude? We gotta talk
The detail, Trainee. We got D.U.I in the house. Destruction under impact. I got my shit together this week.
All right, dude.
Yeah, so
Or not.
in the house. Guys, first of all, Will Thorne, Zinga. You came all the way down. We flew you down from Florida. Is that correct? The Mackcast.
Here, we're
Up. Yeah,
from
we flew
Florida.
you up from Florida.
Yeah.
We put in some budget for this one. So, we dipped into the budget a little bit, opened up the Mack vault.
I don't know where you guys got a Mexican cargo plane from. I don't even understand.
We had to smuggle you in, but that's all right.
Your shipping crate
With other shipping goods that we needed. But I would like to thank you guys for coming down. First of all, I want to know, what's it been like? What's your...
A lot less painful. That's I mean, it's nice, man. It's calm. It's
Sitting down there, it's sunny all the time instead of gray and like 42 degrees. Like
we
it is
got
in the middle of
wacky ass weather down over here.
So,
It was beautiful yesterday, so give us
it
credit.
was gorgeous yesterday. But yeah, no, man, it's interesting not being in the ring. I still follow. I try to keep. I listen to the podcasts and
All right, much appreciated.
keep tabs on Kellen over here, and yeah, a little bit. No, not much, but a little bit.
Thank you.
That's maybe. But yeah, no, it's relaxing. I do miss the business though. I miss wrestling.
I was just gonna ask you. I'm
Yeah.
sure you missed the business.
No, I do.
And what's been going on now that you're back? Since we put it in the budget, we reunited DUI. You know,
Yeah, they did. They did it.
what do you guys? What have you guys been up to together? You guys been partying lately?
Actually, the first day I was here, I came in and I went into a birthday party with Riot. So it was I came in, I slept, and then I hung out with him immediately.
What are you guys doing? Any drinking and driving? Getting really?
Never.
No.
The DUI.
That is
What, that's what you guys are all about, isn't it? You know,
no.
getting intoxicated and getting behind the wheel.
That says it right in the song, Mac. Not that kind of DUI.
It does. It does.
Construction under impact, not the way you drive.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
You hear it's right in the theme song.
My bad, guys. My apologies.
I know.
No.
The
He's been
stories
under-
are around. The rumors are out there. I understand all that.
Most of those aren't rumors.
But
It's valid.
we said we were going.
I said most. I wasn't saying which ones.
We gotta get a list.
Yeah, no, we'll get our shit together.
Mac, do you have any other outrageous questions to ask?
No, that's fair. I held something against you guys for over the years. You know what I mean? I thought after the shows you're getting trashed and
Never.
not safely driving home.
No,
so-
wait.
Those are two separate things.
Yeah.
Getting
and
trashed.
safely driving home.
Right.
There's many hours in the night. You can spread it out.
I
You know,
see that.
just because I start drinking at 10 doesn't mean I have to drive away at 11. You know,
Sure.
I got time.
There were a lot of couches. You know.
Right. And you can always just tell Chris to not drink and make him drive
Oh, yeah.
for you.
And he'll listen.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
will listen. Yeah. Remember when we got him to do
With
shots?
Franklin.
Were you there when we got him to do shots of pickle juice?
I think I was.
That was a great time.
That sounds awful to me. I just
Oh,
want
it
to tell you
was
that. That sounds.
horrendous.
We tried to
But
get
we
him
weren't
involved
doing
one
them.
day.
Mac's eyes lit up because this man loves the pickle juice.
Oh yeah, no, it was
Get really
disgusting.
wasted off that stuff,
Yeah,
right?
no, it was
Pickle
just straight
juice, no.
pickle
It's
juice,
just.
so.
Yeah. I mean,
That was. I remember Monroe was there and the Hoods were there, but I wasn't sure if you were there too.
Poor
we can
kid.
do a whole friggin' segment on Chris abuse.
Oh yeah,
Oh, we should do
In-
that.
in
Thing.
out-
I
the
slapped
way.
him yesterday.
We had a match where we slapped him. I counted. It was like 115 times.
Yeah.
That's too many times. I'm not.
No,
We actually at one point slapped him unconscious, and then I slapped him again to wake him back up.
what Chris are you talking about here? Are you talking about
the clinic?
the bone breaker?
The
He can
clinic.
punish you in any
Christopher
way.
James.
Multiple bones he can break. He lists them all.
Yeah, dude, he might as well be like a Heart Dungeon graduate,
Yeah,
or not.
the clinic.
Oh, this is Monster Mac news that I forgot to get into, Mac. Dave Oliveira sent us a Facebook message today.
He's been hitting me up left and right, but just not like asking me any questions. He's asking me how my day's been and stuff lately. Like,
I've gotten
hey,
those
how's
same
it going?
messages, actually.
They're not too bad, and that's pretty much where it ends.
Pretty good.
He
All right.
He sent me a message, or he sent us a message that said, "Got a date yet?" Question mark. And I responded with, "Are you asking me on a date?" But I think he means for the podcast. So Dave on the podcast. What I'm going to do and what I want to do, and I'm going to find out if he listens to the podcast, because he'll know we're going to get everybody that hates Dave to hide in that room over
I
there.
know the Mac Mansion is large, but that room's not big enough.
Right. Well, we'll get like the key players. You know what I mean? We'll throw a.
You'll have to narrow
Top
it down.
25 we'll get.
And then we'll just, as soon as the podcast starts, they'll all come out, form a circle, and I'll be like, Dave, what's up with paying Kid Muscle $25 to rub his waistband? And then boom, it's like To Catch a Predator. Kind
Make
of
sure
thing.
Gino Giovanni is one of those.
Oh,
guys,
Gino.
Because-
It'll be very interesting. I'm joking, kind of, but not really.
Well, I'm guessing that, if you listen to the last Matt cast with Triplicious, I'm guessing Dave didn't listen to that one because you pretty much told everybody that you wanted to call him out on that stuff. So I'm guessing, but yeah, come on down, Dave. I'll ask you some nice questions. Training, I can't,
I actually
hold him
remember that
responsible.
fight, too. It was Lesnar.
Right, yeah, I'm a wild man.
It was that fight, and I stayed for the pay.
Oh,
the
that's
pay.
right.
I stayed for the pay, and I watched Gino almost fucking rip his face off.
Physical violence always the way to solve
Always.
things. So we're taking it way, way back, Will,
Oh no.
to RDW.
Oh.
How'd you get involved?
To be honest with you, I worked at a video game store, and there was this guy Rich that used to referee with all of those guys, and I kind of became friends with him and some of the other guys. And he's like, "Well, I do this wrestling thing." He's like, "You interested?" And I was like, "Yeah." So he sent Pat Masters, just Playboy Pat. And
Yep.
whatever his score name was that I don't remember off the top of my head right
IQ?
now.
IQ, yeah.
Irwin Q?
IQ.
All right. And then it was Pat. I remember Lance, Byron, and somebody else came in, and they wanted to know if I was interested. So I went down, I trained, and I ended up refereeing for like 3 years before I got into the ring. Like
Really?
Yeah, like they kind of did it right back then, where it just sort of I trained with EOS. And they didn't really let me in until I knew my stuff.
So they did have a training program going on?
Yeah,
like
it was
a little school?
EOS, the Stretcher Crew, which is Moko and Postal Pete, and Mike Edwards were all trainers there at that point.
Now, you're a very big guy. Why do you think they held you back for so long? Do you think they were just very impressed with your reffing skills? Or?
I think it was just to make sure I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I appreciate because
playing it safe.
I never really got hurt wrestling because of that. You know what I mean?
A big guy like you can put on some real
at
punishment
that point,
to guys.
I wasn't
so.
quite as big as I ended up. I was young. I was probably only about 17, 18, so I was probably about 135, 140 pounds at that point.
Can you tell me about your first match in the RDW?
Oh man, it was myself and Scott Levesque.
Oh hell yeah!
And
props to Levesque.
It was
Friend, yeah, Scott Levesque, friend of the podcast.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. It was me and Kyle in two of Scott Levesque's old gimmicks. The end of the match was him coming out.
I'll take it.
And dropping us both on our heads. I remember specifically because I love him to death, but he said, "Do you know how to take the impaler?" I said, "No." I said, "No, I'd really rather not do that." And he got in the ring, he kicked me in the stomach once, and immediately hit me with the impaler.
Right.
But no, it was good. I mean, it was what it was. It's not something I would ever put up and promote. But
you got to do it. You got to put out a best of like.
If I could find it,
yeah,
I'll put it up. That's a lot of that's lost in the archives.
How long did you do that RDW stuff for, man?
I mean, until it stopped, which was probably like, I want to say maybe 2003, 2004. There was like, some stops, and then it would restart and stop.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, probably until it was over.
So after RDW, during RDW, you branched out to where we met you.
Yeah.
Which was Primetime Wrestling?
I believe it was.
time?
It was.
Like
I think I
changed the
worked
name?
maybe 3 of those primetime shows before it became ACW.
Right. And that's where we first met, and you immediately became like heavyweight champion.
By accident, actually. It was because Franchise, as usual, was fighting with somebody else, which was Mikey...
Whiplash.
Yes.
The one that he broke his... we have this video footage of him falling off a ladder and landing on a table and popping his arm out. And just people yelling, and his sister screaming at Casey Shooter and throwing things at him. And Michael Conman.
He attacked Michael Conman. We got the documented footage.
I miss Michael Conman.
Yeah, me too. I haven't seen him in a while.
But they could not agree on whatever it was. Whatever was, I don't know.
Right.
Mikey was supposed to win a belt and drop it to Brandon or whatever, and it was like
The Brandon you're speaking of is Brandon Sire.
Yes,
the franchise Brandon Sire.
But I'm not even going to use gimmick names. I'm not in business anymore. Welcome.
Yep. I doubt he listens.
You're not in the business, or they're not in the business. You're
just say whatever they are.
That's what I was going to do.
The same thing with Ray and Scott.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I dare him to come stop me.
Come on, LeMay. You know where the Mack mansion is.
But yeah, so basically, I took the belt to drop it to him.
Okay.
That was basically like, I'll take it for like 3 weeks or 3 shows or whatever, and then I'll drop it to him.
Now,
so it was more of a favor to everybody involved.
Scott Levesque mentioned on his podcast that you were the heavyweight champion there, and that the only thing that you could do for him was get him a pre-show match against Carlos V.
Carlos V. Yeah.
What's up with that, dude?
I will probably apologize to him for the
Scott Levesque's your RDW buddy.
Here's 2 things with that. One, I enjoy watching Scott Levesque beat the hell out of Carlos V.
You gave him the Dickinson.
So there was a certain amount of that involved because he was starting to do some weird new pile driver as a finish, and I figure if he's going to do it to anybody, it might as well be Carlos V.
Yeah.
And I don't remember why. There was some sort of booking committee, and for some reason I could not sell Scott Levesque to them. Like, I love him.
Did you see the tassels that he was rocking at the time? Come
The
on,
tassels are
man.
great.
Tassels are always.
He had some.
Tassels are good. You're not going to get right. Tassels are phenomenal.
He's a tassel kind of guy. I get that. But he was rocking the Benoit pants at the time,
He
black
was.
and white. I'm all about it, you know.
I think so.
Yeah.
Good question, Trainee, though. I'm glad you got that one out there.
Well, I just always wanted to know since the last podcast. I think it's pretty humorous that you look back at those times, and the only people that are left, you, Levesque, us, and
I want to say about it. Really,
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else that was.
yeah,
Well, he's out. He's out there somewhere.
yeah,
he's not.
LeMay's not in. LeMay's out.
He's like there.
He's somewhere doing
Like,
things.
we're here. He's over there.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. Man.
Chris Cruz, maybe.
Well, he
was
popped
like
back
later
up
on.
recently,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. What'd you say?
He's the kid muscle that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Kid Muscle is that's Chris Cruz's.
Yeah, he just popped
nickname.
back up in like the
Kind
WCW
of, yeah.
and all that, right? Yeah, he wasn't really there as I was leaving.
So, back to those PTW days.
Yeah.
You're a heavyweight champion of the world of ACW.
World, which
And,
was like 2 blocks.
Pretty much that mill.
It was
when
like 2
they ran
blocks.
out
The
of.
2 block. Burlington Coat Factory knew who I was. Okay, that's. No,
Oh no, that was Eventually, we became the Angkor Plaza. So, Dave does like the first couple shows there, and he draws like real good.
Yeah, those were
And then just nobody showed up. Like how? What?
Mikey dropping himself on his head, I think, did hurt attendance a
Right,
fair
there
amount.
was some-
I think that was a.
I don't remember which one.
But the,
I know you were probably on it.
that makes sense.
Oh, there's no way he wasn't.
Yeah.
Mack was on all those shows.
Yeah.
And Eric Medeiros dragged me. It was weird.
Ooh. Ooh.
um,
Dave, Eric,
what a wild,
into those names
what a wild
now.
bunch.
But
And that just died off. Nobody started showing up. It closed down.
yeah.
You go back to doing RDW, just RDW.
Yeah. I went back. I think RDW was still around at that point.
Now, what was some of your favorite feuds you had RDW time?
RDW, I can tell you that out there somewhere we have there's an 8-man. It's me, Natalia, Ariel. I don't know how, but it'd be Natalia.
Yeah.
Not the heart, but the
Right, yeah.
the other one around here. Irvin Quincy and Scott Levesque.
Yep.
And we wrestled GQ, Icebreaker, Anthony Stone, and this guy Messiah. And it was interesting. Levesque gets dumped on his head probably about 45 seconds in off for a botched press slam.
Jesus.
And that pretty much sets the tone for everything.
For the rest of the match.
Yeah. But everything we did, we had this little stable, New Breed, and like that was probably like some of the coolest stuff we did because we just did out of hand, underhanded things.
Yeah. Just kind of whatever you wanted.
Yeah, which was always fun.
Inmates run the asylum kind
Yeah.
of thing. Now, you guys are doing a lot of this at the Karoba, or where?
No, the Karoba shut down, I want to say in 2001.
Okay.
It was just because it was a good mill. It was a solid place, but
Yeah.
most of those buildings over there just weren't making the owners money. They decided to knock most of them down. So we actually ended up hooking up with Mike Edwards and basically wrestling in his backyard for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Setting up the
Yeah,
ring,
up
doing
there,
everything,
yeah.
all the as legitimate as possible, but just being in his yard for about 4 or 5 years.
And you'd say you learned a lot from him, obviously, right?
I learned a fair amount of what I know today from Mike.
Still, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, did you ever seek any other outside training, like Brick House or?
When I first started in, it was EOS, Stretcher Crew and
Right,
Mike
right, yeah.
Edwards. After a while, I actually was able to train with Scott King for a while.
Okay, yep.
Who's he's a little, Yankee Pro legend, but he ran a lot of shows up in Maine.
Yeah.
That was like his area there, and I got a couple of NCW trainings when I was younger too, because Kyle Ruckus got me into a lot of that stuff.
So you get the call to come back to work for Dave again in the Angkor Plaza, Building 11, the fourth floor.
That was downstairs, I think. Or did we run some ACW shows upstairs?
I said Angkor. Upstairs was PTW.
Yes.
When ACW came back, it was downstairs, but I think that was after. I didn't mean to say the Angkor
Those
Plaza.
other
I meant
mills.
to say the Durfee Union Mills.
Yes.
Durfee Union Mills, Building 11, Floor 4.
We did some stuff there.
We did,
We
yes,
did
yes.
some stuff in there. I remember that now.
You
yeah.
you joined a group called the Youth.
Yes.
It was you and Paul Lombardi, were probably the
It was
only two
me,
people
yeah.
that ever.
No, Levesque was with us in
Scott
that.
Levesque also in that group.
Yeah.
I forgot. That's right. So wow, yeah, Levesque's all over the place. Levesque, you're going to be mentioned many times in this podcast.
Absolutely.
Hashtag Scott Levesque.
Let's get it out there.
And
I want that trending now.
And you were saying so PTW shut down and they come back as AEW and they started running shows in the mill, which lots of memories from for me because not much control.
Yeah, and they were running shows like every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we were there for a year or a year and a half, but they ran like 40 shows.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
And just in those mills.
Which clearly, like, for the draw, does not do well once they're running
right.
shows.
Draw day
So
one was
eventually,
probably like 11
the fan base
people,
dropped
like-
down on that. But I
Yeah.
just remember a lot of open ring time. The lot of trainings they used to have every week, like every day of the week, you would be open. I don't know if my memory's correct on that, but it was open
I think
a lot.
it was pretty much. I mean, I don't know how many people were there to train those people that showed up in the ring,
When-
but yeah.
When he says it's open ring, he means we went into the Durfee Mills, opened the door,
Yeah, and
and
wrestled.
went and wrestled in the ring. That's what he means by open
That's
ring.
That's
They weren't open, but we're still there.
Those shows, like, I have the tapes, a lot of them.
Ooh, I'm
And
afraid of that.
oh man, Mack. Yeah, I was gonna say we should pop some of it out, some mill tapes. But they like I think back at them and I think funny and you know what I mean. But at the time, it's so bad.
Oh, it is. I know. I can't imagine that any of it is
But
really all that good.
there's always these little glimpses of like I had some idea, like I was trying.
The ideas were great,
Right, but the
ability
execution
at that point probably not as good as it needed to be to do
Right.
a lot of those things.
But what some of your memories from that time? I want to talk about some of those guys. We'll talk about like the Demon.
What about it?
Well, I'm just saying. Did you ever get the pleasure of working with such a character?
I don't think I ever actually worked him.
No.
I think
Dale
poor.
Torborg?
I think
No, not Dale
no,
Torborg.
No,
No,
similar,
I heard the demon.
similar,
Yeah, I don't know.
but not. Like I mean, I would say their work rate was probably about the same.
No, this guy was the legit demon, though. He was.
Did he come out of a coffin?
No, he was a man
Raised up
who
on stage.
was
There
human
there
at
wasn't
one
really
time.
a lot of
but-
budget
Was there Kiss
on that.
music
Yeah,
playing
we
in the
didn't have Ted
background?
Turner's money, so
The
no.
face paint?
No, the face paint.
Yeah, he had the
was
face
there.
paint.
It was
He
the
did.
face paint. Yeah.
The 666 T-shirt, of course,
Oh, that guy
bedazzled
from-
bedazzled
Yes, it
on
was
his
actually,
T-shirt.
yes, it was that the gold glitter.
Yeah.
Sixes.
Oh,
I remember
God.
those.
I love the flames at the bottom of the shirt. That was,
Yeah.
but one of my favorite ACW wrestlers, the Demon. He was commissioner at some time. He used to pull contracts out of his ass, and
I do recall. that.
I'm saying he recalls.
I do recall this.
As long as someone else remembers. But,
No, I think poor Paul was right. Paul Lombardi had to wrestle him more than anything.
yeah, we all know what happened that night.
You were involved in that, right? Wasn't there like a whole no selling incident where Lombardi ended up peppering him up, and there were people were
I
flipping
remember
out?
it all. I just sort of watched.
You just stood there and watched,
really was
right?
none of my business. I may have been selling in a corner. I don't know.
I'm gonna go over the whole cast of characters from
Oh,
that
no.
from that era. You got one? Don't blow the big one right away.
No, because everybody knows my hero.
Right.
Everybody knows that. Not the TD. Don't you dare drop the TD.
So we got I don't know who else I have. Wait a minute.
Give it back to Trainee One,
Go
then.
through these cast of
Don't you dare.
characters.
Don't you drop it early.
I don't want to say Black Mike because I don't know what his official wrestling name
Baby
was.
Sunshine.
Baby Sunshine. How can I
I
forget?
loved
him?
Baby
Hey,
Sunshine.
people, he was black, so I don't
No,
know
I-
if that covers up at all.
Baby Sunshine.
There were multiple
had-
Mikes. He's the one that
Yes.
gave himself the nickname. Eventually switched it to Mocha Mike.
So it wasn't racist on my part, just his.
Right.
He had so much ability,
Right, dude. He was such a naturally talented
so
dude.
much potential. He was a guy that could pretty much do whatever you asked him to do.
Yeah.
He just could not get his head straight.
No, they just lack of
Nothing, dude. I remember it was the man. I can't remember. Deadly Encounter.
Yeah, yeah,
is
that's-
all right.
that's
The
the,
first one, like we had him booked in some really cool like
Right, yeah,
angle to
yeah.
do everything, and he just he wasn't there. He like got arrested. the
Yeah,
night
you got
before or
arrested
something
that night,
like
yeah.
that. And it was like those things that like you were like, there's so much potential here. There's so much that could happen, and none of it ever really panned out.
Like when I look back at those times, the very few like decent performances I had with guys like I had a pretty decent 3-way with him and Mark Quinn.
Yep.
that I just out of nowhere we didn't call anything. We just worked and it was
just
like
go out there and get it done.
we had a good 3-way, especially for at that time. My mind was blown. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. Him and Cruz, I used to like working back then.
Cruz was good to work. I always liked
And,
working Cruz.
Chris Tyler.
Oh, Chris Tyler, man, yeah.
He used to throw robot punches until that.
Well, that was the thing with him. It's like he had those flashes, but he was awkward.
Oh, it was so
It
funny.
was just really awkward.
He had two yellow stripes on his blue trunks, and we used to just call him Two Stripes all the time when we'd see him. And like I'd see him, like, why don't you make a blue shirt, 2 stripes, 2 yellow stripes?
Let's make it a gimmick.
You know, what I mean, like Chris Tyler in the middle.
No, Akeem had Africa, but he had Africa.
My favorite move of his was a little baby hop that he did on the
yeah,
rope.
baby springboard.
He used to do the baby
I do
springboard
remember.
from the bottom rope. That was one of my favorites.
Billy Bully.
Billy Bully.
Oh, William Bullsworth for later
And he
grappling
teamed with
fans. Mack Echo.
Mack Echo. Yeah, I worked them maybe like once, to be honest
Really,
with
that's
you.
it. Not much to do.
No,
with those dudes.
we just never really crossed paths for whatever reason.
Probably for the better.
I don't know. Like I said, I only worked them once. So.
My favorite, I'm going to go through. If you're going through them,
Let's
going
go through 'em.
My favorite moment of his was his white T-shirt that he wrote Billy Bully and with marker on his shirt. And then he used to call all the fans bleep, guzzling bleeps.
There was a
That
lot
was his
of that.
promo. He used
There
to
was
open.
some
He
sort
used to
of
open with
baby
that.
at one point with them too, wasn't there? There was
They
like
did. Okay, here's the rundown.
I was like, this. I'm
I've
pulling
seen the
this one out of
tapes.
kind of the back of my head here, but
I've seen the
recall
tapes
something
when
like
when
that.
we were going through footage for the mockumentary.
Yeah.
Mack Echo and William Bullsworth dressed up like Havoc and Havoc's valet at the time, who was
Oh.
Havoc's girlfriend, who was pregnant.
Yeah. All of a sudden it's all rushing back to me.
So then they gave birth. A
No,
black
but it's
baby
not.
came out. They said it's baby Sunshines, and then they punted it.
yeah. No, that sums it all up now. All of a sudden I remember everything.
No,
The punting
That-
baby, that what brought it back.
that happened at the VFW, not in the mills. But the VFW was also a wild ass place.
Can you please tell me one of you remember the old guy that ran the place?
Oh, what was his name?
please.
I want to say
I mean,
want to say
he's a
Frank,
hero.
but I don't think it was. But that guy that
No, but he is a hero.
What,
He
that
was
walks
like-
around with the
he was
cane
like
and
half,
shit?
like
Yeah,
half
that-
deaf or blind or
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of those. Like, yeah.
He hated Crazy Chad.
Hated
Chad.
Chad.
huh?
There were a
Oh,
lot of
man,
people
a
that
lot
hated
of
Chad. I'm
people-
not,
yeah, well,
that's,
he
I'm
wasn't
not one of
really
them.
that-
I love Chad,
yeah.
but there were a lot of people
he
that
was
hated
very
Chad.
comical, but he was one of my ACW favorites as well.
Chad's definitely one of my
Chicken
favorites.
pulls the
Casey,
chicken out of the pants.
I actually, out of all the time with the ACW and the PTW, I think one of the best things I ever did was that feud with Casey.
Yeah.
That feud with Casey
Was he a stiff prick?
It's hard to tell
Because
I'm
every
a stiff
time I
prick.
wrestled him, he was a stiff prick to
I'm a
me.
stiff prick, so I don't know that he was
Okay.
because everything he gave me, I gave back, if not more.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's tough to tell.
Casey's one of those guys that I always thought again was could have, if he would have stuck to it.
He had
He would've
no
got it.
ability
He would've
there.
got
He
it.
decided to go out and get some actual.
He
training
studied a
like we
lot
all
of
did later
a lot
on,
of
and
grappling.
Yeah, he could have done a lot. There's no
Yeah.
question about that.
So it's sad when you would do dudes. You know what I mean? You think like probably do some jazz, but
There were a few of those kind
Yeah.
of guys.
kind of like you said, the Baby Sunshine too.
Yeah, he's definitely one of them. I think Cruz is one of them. Cruz
Yeah,
just
Cruz-
came back recently.
He's
but
kinda
Cruz
popping off,
always had
yeah.
a lot of natural abilities,
He's crazy though. He's a wild man. I
which is
enjoy it.
probably why he dropped off at various
right.
times.
Yeah, he's crazy. I want to have him on the podcast, but not to interview him, to just have
Just
like
have him
conversations.
there, just to yell things
Yeah,
out
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff,
Just say stuff in the background, give me big thumbs ups and stuff like that. It's what he does.
Yeah, he's they're definitely Casey was great to work with. There was a lot of fun there.
I'm gonna. There's there's always like the random the jabrones that are left from.
Oh man,
Those
what was the
ACW
American
days.
team?
Oh my God, the GI Joes. What the hell were their
Yep.
names? Mack, the GI Joes, the All American Boys. I don't know what their names.
I
were.
know one of their real names, and that's it.
Right, we'll call him Brian and the
Oh,
other
man.
kid.
I think one of them was Brian.
Yeah. Brian Robidoux. He what was his name? Mac? Any idea?
He was.
He was
18
one of the
Shrek.
USA boys.
Yeah,
I just
that's what we
said
were talking- Welcome back.
Is that what you guys were talking about when I was taking a
piss?
piss?
Remember their gimmick names for the life of
What
us.
was their actual name?
Justice. Brian Justice. No, he's something.
Zach Justice.
Zach Justice?
Zach
Yeah,
Justice.
You're absolutely right about
and,
that. Because him and Strider teamed for a little bit there.
Right, and they danced. It was phenomenal.
Actually, if we want to get into good stories, I love
I'm down.
Strider, and I think he's another guy that I think has a pretty good amount of potential.
Yeah.
Because he's a pretty good athlete for a guy his size.
Well, he's still doing it, so I give him
I'm
credit for
saying,
that. He's still in the ring.
Like the
still,
more he's around guys,
he's
like
never
Brick-
gave up.
No, but guys like Brickhouse and things like that, the more he's around people like that,
Oh,
the better off
definitely.
he's going to be. But it was me and Icebreaker worked as tag team champions, which is probably the worst team that anybody could have faced because, once again, we were both stiff pricks. And we told them, we said, you can get us out of the crowd, it'll get you some instant heat, so work us a little bit. We'll get into the hot tag and everything good. And we went for the first tag and they cut us off.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, all right. And we went for the second hot tag and they cut us off. And then we went for the third. We finally get the third hot tag. I go to throw the first punch at him and he ducked it.
Yeah.
And the only thought that came into my head was I turned around and I kicked him in the nuts as hard as I've ever kicked any human being. It was just one of those moments.
Boom. Done. I'm gonna drop the big name. Tough Daddy. Now, a lot of people know who Tough Daddy is.
He's a hero amongst men.
And some people are just finding out about him because we posted up a Tough Daddy retrospective kind of.
Which is great.
A little-
You got to
did
get
you-
the name out there.
Did you see the video at all?
I have.
It's pretty impressive. Great job. That was a Mack edit only. He did that all himself.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's also Monster Mac approved.
well, yeah, approved all around. I think anytime you're trying to get his name out there, it's good for the people.
Every time I posted that, I got a text from Paul Lombardi saying like, amazing. Like he loved it. People, great response. But you knew Tough Daddy while it was happening.
Oh, I did.
Right.
I'm proud to say it.
Tough Daddy hipster.
Yes, yeah, you are.
I am, yeah. I knew Tough Daddy before it was cool to know Tough Daddy. Okay.
Cool to know Tough Daddy.
Back then, what were you thinking compared to what are you thinking? What do you think about Tough Daddy now?
There's no difference.
Right.
I really wasn't sure why he was there.
Right.
I really wasn't sure what to do with him, other than to maybe let Scott Levesque drop him on his head a couple of times. But man, he tried really hard.
He was something else, man.
I don't think words can ever really describe Tough Daddy.
Right. You have to experience Tough Daddy.
Yeah, and if you want to look into some more Tough Daddy, you can check out that video
Yeah.
on my Facebook. I don't know. There's, like you said, there's no words to describe him. I don't have any, so
There aren't. I mean, and everybody that knows him, I don't think you could sit there and play like word association.
Right, Tough Daddy.
And
You
Tough
just go
Daddy. Like Tough Daddy, and the game's over.
right, I got nothing.
he did have a classic feud with the Extreme Satan. I don't know if you remember him.
No, I remember everything about that, actually.
And yes, it rocked.
Because
They
I
had,
just
like,
wanted it
3
off the
matches.
cards, but Dave wouldn't let it go off
It
the
was
cards
great.
for whatever
I
reason.
feel like I'm in like a Facebook post of Trash Bag Wrestlers.
Yeah.
This is what I expect to see. You are not getting booked.
That may have actually been where it all started. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh man. So to me it boggles my mind at why any of that was going on. But ACW just continued on, like it closed again there. I'm sure RDW was still just going on. So
Maybe, maybe not.
So you had a hand in a little bit of that booking. 10 years later, Trainee wants answers. All right, why was Tough Daddy being booked?
I couldn't tell you.
I was gonna
Listen, at the end of the day, we couldn't override Dave.
right, and he just wanted that
So
shit on his
for
shows.
whatever reason.
And it's not even like he was filming those shows. I have all that footage.
Yeah.
Like if somebody
And
from,
I'm sorry for that.
It's okay.
I apologize.
But if somebody from ACW eventually gets signed to the WWF's going to come and buy that footage from me and not
you
from Dave.
actually may get into
I'm
the Hall
selling-
of Fame.
Yeah, I'm selling
You may
that
get
shit.
into the Hall of Fame, Carlos Colon style, to get that footage.
And this suddenly just popped in my head. Tough Daddy, and I don't know if this is purely speculation, but I think he was paying a fee to wrestle there. and that's why he was being booked on the show.
A lot of things would make sense in that case.
Oh man,
I
I
gotta
forgot
tell
all
you,
about that.
I wasn't getting any of that.
Right, yeah.
I just had to figure out
Some
how
ducats
to,
weren't spurred your way, no?
how to get the least amount of damage out of him in those shows.
All right, Dave. They can wrestle like while the people are coming
Yeah,
in.
while the people are coming
While
in.
like
and
the
then
doors
we
are open, they
we
can have
call
that.
it a-
Yeah, they might just turn right around and
we
walk
can call
out.
it a training
Should've-
session. It was
Right? Yeah.
okay,
No,
like, it was fine.
these two guys are they're gonna grapple.
Yeah,
if you want to call it that.
Dark match. We're not even gonna turn the lights on.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
That,
It should have
yeah.
been pitch dark. This is pitch
Yeah.
black. It's just funny, dude. I'm sorry.
All right, so ACW, it closes down, yada yada yada. Open backs up. They merge. They merge with VFW halls. We move into that VFW hall.
Yeah.
We all had a great time, you know.
If,
Give me this microphone.
if there's a good point to pick,
I'm having a
if
damn
there's
good
no,
time.
if there's a good point to pick during all of this mess,
Right.
the VFW halls might be where we
Probably
did some of
where.
our better
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because a lot of the extreme Satans of the world, and they kind of got weaned out of everything.
Right.
We
And they started
to be
reaching
able
out to different people too.
We started getting like Paul Lombardi was in there at that point. We
He's
started
popping
getting a
in and
lot
out.
more of that.
I worked
along the
Teddy
way.
there.
Yeah, that's there was we brought in Mark Quinn.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was a lot of more of that stuff.
Now, I want to kind of talk about the way the locker room was back then.
Oh, the clicks.
Right. And how I don't want to say R2 clicks bonded over
Well,
every...
we used to be the click breakers.
Right,
You
yeah,
and me
yeah.
were the
We
click
would just-
breakers because we would just walk over to whoever and talk to whoever.
Right.
It didn't matter. But there was definitely a definitive 5
Sep-
people here, 5
right,
people
right,
there,
yeah.
5 people over there.
And I was always curious back then. Like, I wonder if everybody else is feeling this. You know what I mean? Like, do they realize it's clicked
I
up?
don't
And,
see how they could.
and everybody was kind of getting booked against their own groups.
Yeah, it
until
seemed
we
more
kind of
like
started doing
whoever-
our own thing.
whoever started out with whoever.
I'm sure it's like that in a lot of wrestling locker rooms, though, where guys.
Yeah, I think I would say the majority of the time. Yeah.
I think the only problem with that is when it comes to politics and the bookers booking their friends and stuff like that, which probably was one of the downfalls.
No, that never
One of the downfalls for ACW right there.
Well, the funny part was in that committee because I was there. There was actually it almost seemed like a member of each clique was a part of that booking
to represent
committee. So that
represent
we
their
could-
group.
We could always you had Crave with you guys, and then Bullsworth was another one that was booking at that time. So that was those guys, and then there was me with all of the RDW guys that were coming in, and so there was a lot of that.
It's funny that you mentioned the click breakers thing because that's kind of how, like, around that time, that's when Scott Levesque started becoming our friend too. From like just me basically just screwing with him constantly, harassing him and making him become my friend.
Basically, you
Like,
forced
shoving him
him.
like, you're gonna be my friend, dude. Don't act like you're
he
not.
almost tapped out into being
we
your
used
friend.
to take trash bags and put it in his wrestling gear
Yeah.
and then blame it on Tough Daddy and then say
Which
that
is
Tough
always a
Daddy did.
possibility.
And that's how the Tough Daddy Scott Levesque match came about. He demanded a match.
Had I known there would have been a trash
You're like,
bag on a
you
pole, we would have really worked
Yeah.
it. We would have got some money out of it. No, we wouldn't have. That's
Yeah.
basically- it would have been a coal miner's trash bag.
I feel like our two groups always got along. Like I remember back then, I would sit out in the crowd, and you would do shit to like pop me and reverse. Like you'd be out there, and we try to like pop each other in the crowd. I don't know. Those times were fun, but so unsafe. I look back at so
absolutely.
much of that stuff.
Absolutely.
Just so unsafe. But like you said, that's the time things started getting better.
I think I eliminated 2 of your trainees back then.
Oh, most-
You had
yeah,
3
yeah.
in 69 back
Right,
then.
and they just
and me and Anthony Stone
gone,
crushed
yeah.
them at one point.
They
and
broke
we
up.
Never saw them again.
Yeah, they broke up and
I apologize for
traded him to
ruining your money.
69. He took he's Jordan. He runs the music
Still
now for
should have
House
been
of
the Big
Bricks.
Mac. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
Yeah, that is true.
I think you guys there was a lot of money to be made.
I don't think he was too happy with the ski mask that we gave him that we
You
drew
probably
the Monster
not.
Mac
It was a
design
really
on the mask.
uncomfortable ski mask.
Yeah. It was very sweaty in that mask.
And according to the Monster Mac documentary, trainer number 3 broke his neck and leads a life of drugs and debauchery.
Oh.
That might be broken. I mean,
No.
not broken. That might just be a lie. I'm just, I don't
I'm
know.
not gonna lie.
Broken neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we may have made that part up because we don't know. He just disappeared into the night.
That's what I heard on Facebook. It was from a friend a friend's friend told me.
Broke his neck, drugs and debauchery. That's
he's
what
somewhere.
happened to him. Yeah, he's gone. Right, just crying into his mask. Do we have his mask? Did we get the mask back?
We got the mask, of course.
Just making sure,
all right,
dude.
yeah.
Always to get that shit.
As long as there's not a missing mask out there somewhere.
Someone masquerading.
Yeah. So things there. That's where you said you worked that program with Casey,
Yeah.
and you also had a manager named Casey,
Yeah.
who was a girl.
Yeah.
And Casey grappled
Yep.
in a match where Casey Shooter,
Yeah, let's just go with Shooter and
Shooter
Casey.
and Casey.
I'll
Shooter-
be damned if I can remember the last
Shooter
name.
gave Casey the old clothesline from hell, like yapping her up, gave her the business.
tombstoned her.
Tombstone, that's what it was.
He tombstoned her.
He gave her some shit.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy for a small VFW show in 2003. You know what
Yep.
I mean, or 4 or whatever the year was.
And when Casey strikes his opponent, it hurts. And he wasn't changing for gender on that match.
which is good because if you're gonna get
Yeah.
in there, get in there. That's huh?
The intergender thing's like a big thing now. You
Yeah.
guys were ahead of the game.
No, we were ahead of our time at that point. Probably the best story coming out of that is I'm supposed to get involved later.
Right.
And the clothesline is the thing, and people are really uncomfortable with the clothesline because I didn't care a lot about what I was doing with that clothesline at that point. So she had the option of taking the clothesline because that was supposed to be the spot, and she opted to let me smash her in her head with a chair instead because she was that uncomfortable with the clothesline.
I don't know. I think that was a fair trade, if
Which,
you
by
ask
the way,
me.
I don't pull chair shots either.
So that was again. I gotta get you some of that footage, man. I
Oh
gotta,
yeah, no,
gotta
I do.
find
I
it.
need to see some of that. That's
Do we have the? I don't know where any of it is. It's all somewhere.
one
It's all
of my,
right in front of us at my coffee table over here.
No, you have these DVDs that Mark Gomes made us. Go check in the other room for them. No, there's like right now during the Maccast. We'll pop that shit in while we're doing it.
You're going to send me into another room during my own Maccast?
yeah. I'm never gonna see it if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, you know what? If it doesn't happen right this second.
I'll go then.
So- all right, yeah, I'll do my thing. Those times, like you thought of fondly, but after that, that's when things start getting pretty good.
Yeah.
We moved to the what the hell was that place? That soccer center.
The
called?
soccer center in Somerset.
Right.
I don't even know the name of it. We called it the Somerset Soccer Center.
Yeah.
think that was
Oh,
the
the
name
no,
of
the
it.
multi
Yeah, I know.
multiplex.
The multiplex.
'Cause
That's
we were
right.
just-
It had
'cause-
such a great name.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the 7-Eleven.
And around that time,
No, that was on like a street by itself. Nobody could
yeah,
find
it
that
was.
place.
That was probably the part of the problem. Nobody
Yeah.
can draw there. It's
No.
such a shitty location.
No, I think a couple of companies had tried, and
As I said,
nobody's
many
ever really.
companies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
ever drew there. It's a great building. It's in a terrible location.
Right. Just so bad. That's when they started bringing in guys from Yankee Pro Wrestling. At the time, I guess Yankee was making a changeover. They were getting rid of a lot of guys that
I
weren't
wasn't
going to
actually even
training.
there at that point.
Had you left?
Yeah,
Was it
naturally?
was that the
I had
deal?
a falling out with Dave.
Right. Which is not much of a
Naturally.
shocker on any.
Yeah,
any-
that was
any
I think the
point.
ring debacle from one of those
From the-
deadly
okay,
encounters.
so we're gonna get into that shit because we talked about it with Bloodstone.
Yeah,
Anthony
I'm
Stone.
sure he's got a lot to say about
Yeah,
that.
he
but,
got into some pretty good detail about it. But Dave rented a ring and left it out in the rain. And,
Well, here, I mean, basically, in a nutshell, is
we'll talk about what Deadly Encounter is. This like crazy ass 2-ring match.
Yeah,
with, like,
it was a cool little concept.
Right,
At the
we had
time.
2
It was
rings
something different
in
just
your
to draw
show.
people in. It was like a war
Yeah.
games 2-ring, no cage
kind
type
of deal.
But,
We should have had a cage.
Yeah, well, Dave wasn't springing for a cage,
Right.
But so he used Anthony Stone's ring, and dude, we're all beat up. We all wrestled in the main event that night. We're like, hey, listen, man. The training that we were doing at the time was in a second floor warehouse somewhere, and we're like,
Yeah.
dude, we're not carrying the ring up 2 flights. Like, we're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
I know you need to have the ring back tomorrow, the rental back tomorrow. We said we'll pay for it.
Right. They
We'll
pay the
hold
extra
on to
day.
it
Yeah,
just so
yeah.
that we can wake up tomorrow morning. We'll do it tomorrow morning.
Right.
Dave, for whatever reason, is dead set against doing this.
Right.
We're ignorant at the time too, so we just go to IHOP.
Yeah. Whatever, man.
Fuck.
Right. Yeah. That's really all
know?
you can say.
So he ends up leaving Stone's ring out in the pouring rain, which then just chaos ensues.
yeah. Just
Stone ends
insanity.
up coming into one of the shows.
Right, during the
It's a
Scott Levesque
mess.
Monster Mac match.
Yes. I was actually supposed to be a part of that. I was contacted to be a part of that. 'cause I
really,
had
you
the
would
same
be part of that
falling out.
NWO video
I
angle.
refuse
That
that.
was the whole Vampire Guerrero thing.
Uh,
I mean, that's what he was called. I think it might have been on the Burning.
is
Game.
that what it was? Yeah,
They
it
did
was.
some- They were talking about the whole video show.
Yeah.
I think someone called Nick Vampire Gorilla.
Well, it's
Yeah.
him. It's him and Rage Mike.
Yeah.
Not Eric, Mike.
That was my PW Rage.
And they had asked me to be part of that, and I just I refused it. I appreciated what they were doing.
Yeah.
Mack and Levesque are both good friends of mine, and
Right,
I couldn't do that. That just wasn't for me. But I remember coming back to watch a show, and Brickhouse was there,
Right.
and that's when all of that started happening.
And so, what are you doing at that time?
I'm not doing much of anything. I mean, REW might be popping up here and there, but I
not
don't
much,
think I was
right?
doing much of anything at that point. I didn't return until the other soccer center,
the New Beige.
the New Bedford Soccer Center. Yeah,
Right.
That was when I had popped back up.
And what was that? Was that just
Originally, I kind
you
of
by
decided,
yourself? Doing your own
it
deal?
was me. I came in. I had talked to Candido.
yeah? Because Candido had taken over the book.
Yeah,
at the
he was
time,
doing the booking at the time. I said, "Listen,
he's the
I'm
guy who
interested
brought in
again."
all the Yankee
You know what I
dudes.
mean? And his original plan was I was supposed to come back as Havoc's bodyguard.
Okay.
That was the deal originally, and I'm like, "Listen, man, I'll do whatever you want. Doesn't matter to
Right,
me. I
yeah.
just want to kind of get back in the ring." He wanted me to get real gear, and he wanted me to do that. And I said, "All right, sure, no problem."
Whatever you need.
Yeah, whatever. And then it was like my birthday one day. I just kind of went to a show, and Jordan comes out and he's like, "Hey, Candido needs you." And I'm like, "Okay." Yeah, I just went to the back. And he's like, "Do you have your gear?" I'm like, "No, but I live about 6 minutes from here.
Yeah,
what do you,
like, I
what
live
do you
right
need
down
from
the
me?"
street, dude.
He's like, "Yeah, I need you in a match." I was like, "Okay." And I wrestled. I call him Road Dogg because I'll never remember his name. He had the dreads.
JC. No, what the hell is his name? TJ.
I
JT,
think
something
along
like
those
that.
lines.
Yeah,
I'll always
yeah.
call him Road
Road
Dogg.
Dogg,
He had
yeah.
the dreads, and that's what it reminded me of. And then his buddy was supposed to be there, but wasn't. So I ended
Right,
up
he had a
teaming.
buddy, right? He
I
had a
teamed with
Billy
him
Gunn.
against Cruz and somebody.
Was it
And,
Cruz or Cruz in the Crazy Mask Cruz?
No, Cruz.
Okay.
It was regular Cruz at that point, and we I ended up coming out. We worked a pretty good match, but in the back, the whole deal was I wasn't going to be there for the finish. He was going to get
Right.
pinned and blame it all on me,
No.
which is fine. So
Wrong.
even know
Mac
what's going on
popped
in
in an ACW,
like an
But-
ACW,
but this is
Like,
this is ACW.
I don't even know if I'm involved in it.
No, this is
I might be gone at this point.
Oh, you're definitely gone. This is no. Find something old. I'm trying to
I
find.
can
something
find that
old.
one on YouTube.
No, not that. Just yeah, that's on YouTube. Yo.
But
Isn't ACW promos Real World?
I thought the real one.
I think they're all Real World. yeah, ACW Real World. All right, I'm sorry.
I'm totally gone, right?
We have real world involved.
But the whole deal was I'm not going to be there for the finish. He's going to
Yeah,
blame me. I need to hit him with something good.
Right.
And nobody knows me at that point. I said, well, I'm going to hit you with the clothesline at the end. He says, no.
Something good.
Hit me with something good. I called Cruz over. I said, Cruz, tell him about it. This is also not anything that I'm involved in.
Right. This is Real World. This is.
So, all right.
I told him he doesn't want to listen.
So, match finishes. I end up hitting him with the clothesline and knocked him unconscious.
Right.
So,
Just totally out.
apparently, it was good enough to get me not to be Havoc's bodyguard and regularly booked. That was,
Pop it in. Boiling Point.
oh man,
Who knows what that is?
I'm sure it's great.
Isn't that a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie?
And also
it
an
might be.
ACW show. What's
But,
that one?
07?
No.
But yeah, so that gets me regularly booked again.
Yeah. So just on the reg.
I ended up going to a program with Redemption
Okay.
from there, which is probably one of the best things I've ever done.
Right. Still, you look back at it. You
No,
enjoyed it.
hands down, Redemption taught me so much. Just being, other than changing my name,
Yeah.
he taught me a lot.
Name-changing feud.
It was.
Why the name change?
All right, so I'm wrestling as Michael Thorne at that point. I think I'm teaming with the franchise.
Right. I'm sorry.
And don't just you're just distracting me right away. Oh, okay. But I'm just yelling whatever I can to try to distract him from outside. I think I'm
Right,
trying
yeah.
to see if I can get him to break at that point.
Just trying to crack him.
Yeah, and he drops franchise on his head for something.
Of course. Good.
Looks
Excellent.
me directly in the eyes and says, "What do you think about that, Will?" And I looked back at him, I smiled, and I said, "That's not my name.
My name's Michael."
I go to the
Redemption.
back, come out to wrestle that night, and I'm William Thorne.
And
Right
Will
there, boom.
Thorne.
Well, I mean, it's out. Cat's
Yeah,
out of
yeah.
the bag now.
It's
I tell
So
you
that was
what,
the-
it made
the
it a hell of a
changeover.
lot easier for me as your tag team partner because I could just say, "Hey, all right, let's go, Will."
It worked for both of us.
It
'cause,
sucked
you
when
know,
we teamed with Anthony Stone, however.
That's why we went with Stone.
You'll be happy to know that I stayed true and I left the cat inside the bag
You did, and I
for
appreciate-
many years on, my
I
friend.
appreciate
alright?
that.
That's your birth name, and you stay with it, all right?
I appreciate that.
He's a wild man. He was calling you Will Thorne before his school, I guess.
And now he's calling you Michael.
Yeah, now it's
It's
Michael.
all right. Hey, it's all good. But no, Redemption taught me a lot of. Back then, I thought even as a big guy, like it was cool to kind of just be a little more athletic and jump around.
Right, yeah,
and
yeah.
do. And he just kind of taught me that. Hey, we're big. Be big.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Do
yeah.
it.
Yeah, so there was a lot of help in that. I mean, there's a lot of people that might not thank him for that, but I'm going to be one of them.
But that says thank you, yeah. So when does D.U.I come into play?
D.U.I. Starts along the way. Me and franchise are teaming as Divine Intervention.
Okay.
Something goes horrendously
I'm
wrong.
gonna go ahead and guess that LeMay came up with that name.
Probably.
Divine Intervention.
So it's me, him,
say it
and
again slower and sexier. for me.
Divine Intervention.
I love it. It's her
All right,
personal.
that's all right.
That wasn't already taken.
So it's me,
Yeah.
him, and Lindsay Divine.
Okay. Yep.
And something goes horribly wrong. I almost get my leg shattered in a match. Yeah, that's the Atomic Drop. It's out on YouTube. If you YouTube a Thorn segment, you can watch me break my leg. Go ahead. It's disgusting.
How do you almost break your leg during an atomic drop? What's that come about?
It's actually it's not.
That's not the same one.
Then
We have
there's two
multiple
copies of the
copies.
same one.
All right, hold your horses.
Same damn DVD.
So that may be the same one, but it's actually a reverse Atomic Drop, and the spot gets called. Yeah, it's the Manhattan Drop.
Yeah.
I go to give it to Arachnid,
Okay.
and he thought Spinebuster. I guess somehow I don't know how Manhattan Drop and Spinebuster sound the same, but it happened.
Right, yeah.
And instead of bracing with his legs, all of his weight came down on my leg. And from my knee down went to the left, and from my knee up stayed right where it was.
Right. So that's
And there's footage being shown to the room at this point. I think there's a slow motion one coming up if you haven't.
tremendous.
All right.
For the viewers.
Yeah, here
at
it is
home,
right here so that you guys can see.
We'll do a little.
Anybody who wants to YouTube this, you can also see it.
I'll do the commentary. Whip
Right
off the
there.
rope and there.
Oh,
Legs
that's the-
broken.
All I can think at this point
Death
is
to
I've
leg.
broken my leg.
Right. That's. Oh man.
Yeah.
Jesus. Not cool, man.
Lindsay Devine will tell me to this day I let out some sort of horrendous scream that I don't remember.
Right. Just guttural scream
I don't even
just
remember
came
it.
from deep down inside.
But yeah, so that whole thing happens, and I've decided, you know what, maybe enough's enough on this team
Right, yeah.
thing. Let's go in another direction.
And that's when.
So now I end up teaming with Anthony Stone
Okay.
for a little bit. We continue with Lindsay Devine for a little bit until it's time to kind of head in another direction. We end up picking up Kelly Brooks, and we start D.U.I. right there. It ends
Right.
up being me, Kelly Brooks, and Anthony Stone.
and that's at the soccer center.
No, this is actually VFW and for Hayden.
VFW. Okay.
This
so-
whole thing goes down there. And then outside things, job changes and things like that.
Right.
Anthony Stone can't do it anymore. So we're like, well, I mean, this thing's kind of hot. It just started. Like, I
Right.
don't want to kill it. Like, there's got to be something that we can do to fix this. And so I had mentioned to him, I said, well, what's Riot been doing? He said, he's not doing too much right now. I said, well, call him. I said, because if there's somebody out here that's going to be able to do all of the things that you were going to do,
Right.
so we can still do them, well, that's the guy to call.
And how have you? Did you already know him?
I knew him. I popped up when he had first started training in that warehouse where Thornhill and all those. Yeah. That I had seen him around there, and I knew he was traveling with EOS. I'm not going to lie. A lot of the RDW guys, there was a bad taste in our mouth when it came to Riot at first because Ruckus was our best friend.
Right.
And he was the part of the original trio of EOS.
Of EOS, and he stopped.
So
right?
he came, he stopped, which is, by his
own
own
deal,
fault, you
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? But now Riot comes in, and we're like, listen, you can't replace our friend. Like,
Right,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? So
This is I went into this a little bit when I was here last time.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I kind of feel like Ric Flair here at the WWE Hall of Fame. I got you get inducted as yourself and as the Horseman. I get to be podcasted as myself and as part
DUI,
of DUI. And so there ends all the me, Ric Flair, WWE comparisons.
You could probably work a broom.
I could elbow drop a mean suit jacket.
I would. Yeah, I
sure
would
Let me
definitely.
tell you. Mostly the rampant alcoholism.
Well, hey.
But anyway,
Pretty good comparisons. Though.
I know.
That's not a bad list.
Other than that, my limousine's just a little shorter and
Right,
a Camry that I drive. But
Is it black? It's black though, right?
It was not the DUI vehicle.
but yeah, I went over this and I was looked at as a replacement and things like that.
Yeah.
It did definitely.
People just weren't down.
No, it's just it was.
It's nothing personal.
It really
Right,
wasn't.
right.
It really wasn't. It was just more of a listen. Nobody's going to replace our friend.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, though, if there was a guy out there that was going to do it, he was the guy. And he could do a lot of those same things that Ruckus could do. But so I knew him through that. We were doing some trainings. Where was that? Down the south end near the they called it Caroba too, but it was never.
Right. It was never an actual Corolla.
It was, but we did some trainings in there, and he was there with us, and we used to joke around all the time. We would just grab some of the trainees at that point. And, he would pick them up in something, and my response was boot to the face.
Yeah.
We would just come up with a bunch of different ways.
This was the beginning of TNA too, so it was like cradle shock, boot to the face.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
just
it's
a
all
whole-
Crusher, boot to the
That's
face.
all ridiculous stuff. And then we were running. We tried to run for a little bit. Myself, Anthony Stone, and Eric Medeiros, who you brought up, tried to actually run.
C Mello, right?
yeah,
There's
The
C Mello.
keystone of it all.
Yeah, who we ran a fairly successful show once at that same soccer center.
That was with Johnny Cockstrong and stuff
Johnny
like that,
Cockstrong.
right?
We
Yeah,
brought
I
along
remember.
a lot of what was the early Beyond guys, because we had the connection with Drew at that point too,
Right, yeah.
and they had brought in Faith in Nothing.
Oh, so you guys knew Drew back then, all the way back then?
Yeah,
Oh,
all
I
the way
didn't
back
even know
then,
that.
yeah. Because he's working with a lot of people in Ohio at this point, and that's where
Okay,
a lot
yeah.
of these. It's like Ohio, Connecticut, Philadelphia. Like he was working with a lot of guys from all around, like he does now.
West. We'll call it West.
Yeah. So
From here, specifically.
so
West
that whole
from here,
show's
yeah.
going on. Originally, the main event is supposed to be Riot and Teddy
Okay.
against Faith in Nothing. Teddy happens to have some prior engagement that he has to get to, so we have to put him on early. That was the thing.
Yeah,
We
I
called
should
that
do
the
that
thing.
thing.
That was,
I
it's a
know.
good
That's what
move.
I'm saying. I don't
You
do
randomly did it that day, and that's why we did it.
Yeah, exactly.
But so Teddy has a prior obligation. I'm like, listen, I'll do it.
Right, yeah.
A lot of people don't believe in me at this point. I shouldn't be in the main event. It's not going to work. Whatever. So I don't even know who Faith in Nothing is at this point.
Right,
They
yeah,
get
yeah.
there, and these guys are both huge.
Right, yeah.
Vince was like.
Vince
jacked.
Nothing is like jacked, and he's
And
like
Christian
6'3".
Faith was just a large man.
Just a big
Christian
dude.
Faith
in
is
general,
probably
yeah.
about 6'5", 275. He's
Yeah.
just a monster.
Solid.
Yeah, so we walk in, and I'm thinking, well, I can't do any of my stuff to these guys.
Right,
I
yeah,
wrestle
yeah.
smaller guys. Like, all of a sudden, I'm the little guy.
Yeah.
So I basically let them beat the hell out of me for a solid 14 minutes.
Oh, at least.
Probably. It's kind
At
of
least.
There's about 14 minutes of just them
It was just you just getting
getting chopped and
left and right
suplexed,
and left, in
and
the corner, in the back. And
they did that forearm spot, which I think may have actually knocked me a little silly.
Oh,
we were
that's-
stupid.
But
That's
we
the
teamed
best.
in that match. So, that was like the first actual teaming of me and
I
Riot.
had no idea where it was going.
No. I think we were supposed to feud after that because I hit you with a
Yeah,
disgusting
you
clothesline
fucking
after that. And you like cartwheeled and stuff. And
It was like the inside out bump that I didn't mean to do.
yeah, that
Right,
one,
yeah.
So that's really the only interaction we have at that point. But I know him and I know his ability and I
Right.
respect it enough. So I'm like, hey, and we're actually getting ready to go into a program with Levesque and Rob Hagen.
Okay,
and,
yeah, so you know.
and him
Rob
and Rob,
Hagen, who I started with back in friggin' the Westerly shithole. that
yeah,
I
and
talked
Levesque
about.
that I basically start with.
Right,
So I'm
exactly.
Like,
So
wow, like,
this
the
works
chemistry
out.
in this
Right.
program should be phenomenal if we
Right.
bring him in. So he agreed to it. Jamie agreed to it, and that's how our DUI was born.
the final DUI.
Yeah, the DUI. So you said you guys go into the program with Hagen and Levesque,
Yeah.
and that's for the tag belts at.
Are they
Was it
holding
right
the belt? I
away?
think-
I don't know if they're holding. We chased them for so fucking long.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
was a huge chase. So I mean, let's say
'Cause I
that they're
think-
holding them
I
at the
think
time.
they did because then Monroe and Vane got them from them.
Yeah.
because we were like
Yep.
still chasing fucking anybody. anybody.
Yeah, we were chasing anything that had belts.
I was doing just ridiculous stuff in this match.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
where did I come up
In
with
the background, we're watching Mack Attack versus D.U.I.
Well, that's because we're going from good to bad here. So now we're just going to pull out all the stops.
Like, wow.
We're going to pull out all the stops in this one.
And you guys are doing some stuff.
Yeah. But
Doing the things. So at the beginning of D.U.I.,
we'll say they had the tag belts at that
Yeah.
point, but I couldn't
who knows,
recall
right?
off the
It's
top of
an
my
easier
head.
story.
Yeah.
you start that feud. Is that some... Now, I'm going to say... Learn a lot. Enjoy it.
Solid feud.
Yeah.
There's some not such good referee work, we'll call it.
Now, what's that? What's that
That was
deal?
a common problem.
That's Barber.
in the beginning.
Barb.
That's Barb.
Not a fan? Or?
That's Bob. She was just sort of always in the way.
Yeah.
It's just-
I mean, we had some awkward matches. Like, there was that tag team submission match that we did.
that was great on paper.
Which on paper was a great idea. You know, it's a submission match, you know, because we were working leg injuries and things like that. And then we get there and we realize, well, if it's a submission only, if the only way you can lose, then we could not get disqualified. So every time someone locked in a submission, your partner's going to run in and beat the shit out of the guy. Right. So it really, you know, it's slowly...
the mistake of that one was not making it Tornado.
Exactly. Like,
That was the mistake of that one.
you know,
Ideally.
it was some awkward stuff. So I give her credit on stuff like that. But there were other incidences.
But there's matches where there are DQ, for instance, and Levesque and Hagen are just hammering away on Riot. And she's not counting. She's
Right,
not telling
yeah,
them to get back to
nothing,
the
just-
corner. And then, there was the infamous asking Riot how his leg was.
So I was locked in a submission, and you know, Scott Levesque at the time was working my leg, working my leg. So the referee doing her job, which I admire. Say,
Which
how's
I
your
admire.
leg? How's your leg? You know, check your leg.
Yeah.
So my exact response was, quote, "It hurts, you stupid bitch." I don't think it endeared me very well.
Right, yeah.
At that point. But,
Oh, man.
you know, it was what it was. And we were just, you know, we were having fun. I enjoyed working Tony and Scott Levesque and Rob Hagen. I mean, we worked.
You enjoyed working Tony, Scott Levesque,
Yeah,
and
the
Rob,
three
the three of them. Yeah.
They had that Tony Award that
Yeah,
they
yeah,
won
yeah,
because
yeah.
they were from Hollywood.
Hit him with it. and
Yeah,
stuff,
and so
The Tony is what you
exactly.
Say.
We got to
The
work.
Tony.
We got to work them, you know, in not only Fairhaven but also for NCW and in.
Yeah, we actually took that one around for a little bit.
It was a lot of fun for everybody but Bobby.
What,
'Cause I
what was that
concussed
like
him
for you,
pretty
making the transition from being a singles wrestler to working in a tag team?
Well, like I said, at the time, I mean, I hadn't been really working much at all, and so I was just happy to be back in the ring. First off, and we're not gonna lie. I mean, we talked about it plenty of times. We, you know, in the beginning, you know, had some decent tag work, and you know, you could tell. You watch some of our first matches as opposed to some of our later matches, and I mean, you could just see the progression.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, working with Will was what it was in the beginning, but eventually we just clicked on, you know, a number of levels, both in the ring, out of the ring, and everything like that.
right.
So
You guys just grew close.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I think the more we clicked personally, the easier it was to click as a tag
In the
team,
ring, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, because I mean, you know, so I adjusted to it very quickly, and I mean, it was great having somebody there, you know, and we could feed off each other, whether we were faces, whether we were heels, whatever we were doing, you know, we would definitely have one another to bounce things off of, just ideas, either driving up to the show or whatever to get ourselves in the ring, and then just while we were out there, you know, like we knew what the other was thinking, we had a connection, so it made it very easy to transition.
Now, is the time when you guys started clicking the same time D.U.I. started kind of getting a buzz around here? Because you guys started working a lot of places. You had tag belts in multiple locations.
I think so, because more of like what we were doing at that point was we were us.
Right.
I mean, you could catch us outside a show, inside a show, at Walmart before the show,
Right.
at the bar after. It didn't matter. So, I mean, I think fans started kind of catching on with that a little bit. You
And
know,
connecting with you guys, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it was easy to do that. And, I mean, having Kelly with us certainly helped for a long
Of
time.
course, right.
You know, but yeah, we started to catch a buzz, which was nice. NCW was almost a repeat of WCW, where I had gone up to a show with Anthony Stone. Just went up to kind of watch him, and he
Did you bring your gear?
always bring your gear. You always bring your gear. So the gear's with me. And they need somebody to wrestle their tag team champions, Thornhill and Pittman. And it just so happens that's going to be me and Anthony Stone.
It's a good thing you guys showed up.
That might be the one. You might be right about that. That there was a point in the match where Tim is a great guy.
Kilgore?
He's a bit no, Tim Pittman. Tim Kilgore is also a great guy. I love Tim Kilgore. But he had certain awkward spots. And I remember at one point I went to pin Thornhill. And if you've ever played Street Fighter, the E Honda strikes.
I do them.
He hit me with those
They're
during the
in my
match
arsenal.
and just sort of stunned me because I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
I don't do
And,
them. I'm not much for the E Honda though. I do the Batman strikes.
I got you. But that's he sort of stunned me with those, and we were watching our match in NCW the other day, and I said I thought that's where he did it, but now come to think of it,
I see.
that's probably where it all comes about. So we start doing D.U.I. a little bit with me and Anthony Stone, and then we were able to, for whatever reason, your schedule just wasn't allowing you to work shows with us.
Wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah, so eventually, once we were able to, we brought, we were able to bring Kellen in, and we did DUI there.
My close circle of NCW that I thought.
Yeah, that was your return to NCW. Yeah.
So I opened up the Mack vault for you guys. I dig deep for them tapes, and I brought to you Mack Attack versus D.U.I. the first time
This was our
ever.
return.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I don't know where the hell they all went. I know when the WWE Network came out, I
think you
burnt.
overwrote them with Real World, apparently.
Maybe.
You
Well,
in the woods. I don't know what's going on.
When the
there.
WWE Network came out, it was kind of pointless to have VHS tapes, so I burnt like 28 of them. So I might have burnt some
Lost in
HW
the
tapes in
archives.
there. I don't know.
Demolition Day.
There's somewhere, man. There's somewhere.
I'll go look afterwards a little bit. But yeah, that was it. That was the match.
That's just on that DVD.
Just that
It's
match.
You wasted an entire DVD for
just
that.
one match that it's on
Although
my
I
laptop.
didn't remember that promo with Candido and stuff afterwards because on online it's not there.
Yeah, just cut
so I
away.
got to see that at
Yeah.
least.
Oh no, there's more. I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
here.
all right. He just went straight to our
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. Hold on. Go back to the matches. Let's pick a match here.
It's because Scotty Scotlight burnt this one for me, so it's one match at a time, guys.
Ah, okay.
So we got. Hold on. Scroll down. Scroll down.
Yeah. We were just that chapter.
What is E2 SPP? What the hell is that?
There's also the Dave Oliveira incident.
Scroll down.
I remember that. I remember that.
First, because we had to go to NCW.
I don't know.
Yep.
Some other.
It was probably NCW because most of the time if
Probably,
we were
yeah.
doing double shots, it was NCW.
The Dave Oliveira incident. What the hell is that?
Jamie threw fucking shit in Dave Oliveira's face.
I remember that. Yeah.
Hold on. This is.
We had all sorts of text messages at that point.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled podcast for us watching some jazz. I think this is what Dave throws drink in Jamie's face, and then Brickhouse chases
it's
after
chaos.
him.
There's not only Brickhouse, I believe Davey Cash, and there's maybe one other person involved in the
Right.
incident as well. I'm sure it's fun to watch.
I'm telling you, shit's not working. Scotty owes me $5. I want my $5 back, Scotty. I'm gonna have to
it's
watch it from
broken.
the beginning and get a good fast forward going.
Yeah, do what you got to do, man, to get to that. We'll get to that point.
But so we saw NCW, we're wrestling WCW. Was it LPW?
Lethal Pro,
Liberty,
right?
Oh no, Liberty States.
Liberty States,
and actually Lethal Pro. We did a couple of shows for Lethal Pro. Yeah, it was. No. We did that match with the Purists. Not only for Doug, but we did another one with.
No, that was Jose's.
I thought that was Lethal Pro.
No,
Wasn't
that was
Lethal
Jose Perez.
Full
Full Spectrum.
Spectrum
Full
Wrestling,
Spectrum.
yeah.
I thought that was Lethal Pro for some reason. All right, yeah, no, Full Spectrum. That's what it was. We worked there for a little bit. That might be the only company we didn't have tagged at all.
Yeah.
They weren't around long enough to have that.
Because we went to Liberty States and wrestled the Loomises.
The Lumai,
Yeah.
I believe is how you pronounce it.
We had some really good matches with them. There's one of those online.
Somewhere, right?
Yeah.
The one where we beat the hell out of Eddie Loomis.
Nope.
In the chair.
That's the tag title win that we beat the hell out of.
Is there like a
Loomis in the chair.
DUI, like a YouTube page or something?
Nope.
not.
We just had
No?
some scattered stuff. We have a couple matches with the Minutemen.
Yeah, up there, yeah.
There was one. Yeah, there was one from Fall River.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have an NCW and a WCW match with
There's
them.
a couple
we have
up with us.
Yeah, I think we have 2 matches with you guys. There's
Yeah.
one with the Lumai.
One's just a fan cam
Yeah.
angle from like the crowd.
Oh, that's the one where I came back last year.
Yeah.
That's what the last year. No.
I
We
also
did the
want
woods
to.
and
I
just-
also want to plug that you can find Sergeant Muldoon doing a dive on YouTube.
I have
too.
seen that right off the apron.
Right off the apron,
It
and
was
too. Like
amazing.
I found it again recently. I watched it. I almost
just be careful when you're searching YouTube for DUI. Try to use destruction under
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot of
Just
DUI
putting
versus
DUI in there,
DWI
you're gonna
and
get
some
some
weird
cop
stuff.
shit and
Just a whole lot of just bad boys.
Yeah, exactly. So
Destruction under impact.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
be specific. That's all I ask.
The
Yeah,
DUI
that
and
fan
then
cam
put
one is actually the one
grappling.
where I leave.
Or
The other
wrestling.
fan cam one is the one we wrestled the hoods when I came back.
That's hoods. And so you guys kind of had the whole Freebird deal going on, where you would like switch out tag partners. You guys would tag, or you and Nick Bloodstone would tag, or Nick Stone is what I like to call him.
But and we did that to a certain extent. Mainly, it was me and Kellen.
Right, you guys were
We
the
kind
team.
of did the whole. You have your 3-man group, and you got the 2 tag teams, and then you got the singles guy. And Nick was our singles guy,
Right.
which was kind of funny because, like I said, for me in EOS, I was the singles guy, and Dre and Scott were the tag guys.
Yeah.
So I went from EOS to DUI, and well, needless to say, neither of them worked out very well.
Yeah.
I think I worked out pretty well for you.
Yeah, and then
I'm
you
just-
fucking left.
Well, yeah, but a lot of what we did, and especially even as a tag team, came from EOS because
Right,
I was
just-
trained by EOS.
and
He
him
was
as
trained by
well,
EOS
yeah.
later on. So a lot of what we did was basically to honor Dre and Scott.
And so you guys end up incorporating a lot of tag stuff, funny stuff into your characters. Pretty over baby faces.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you prefer that over being heel?
No. No, I'm not going to lie to you. Being a heel is probably the most fun that you can have.
Right.
Because, granted, it was cool. Being a face is cool. It's nice. Autographs. Kids are cheering for you and everything like that. But, there's always a certain amount of that crowd that you're looking at. You're kind of like, well, I guess I'll be nice to these people because I'm supposed to be. But as, is that Adam Rose?
Yeah.
As long as Adam Rose is in the ring, I'm happy.
I don't know
but,
what's going on here.
But, there's those people, we now get to be as mean as we've always wanted to be
Right.
to those people.
All the stuff that we said to each other, or in the back, or on the ride up,
Right.
we got to say out loud.
What was the idea? When did you guys start thinking like we should turn heel?
In my opinion, I always feel that when it comes to turning heel, you can't do it after people stop caring.
Right.
So if as hot as we were, as over as we were as faces, if we turn at that point, all of that just gets flip-flopped.
Right.
Now we're still really over. It's just now everybody hates us instead. You know what I mean? Which I think that's the best time to do it.
It definitely is. If you're a good babyface, you're definitely gonna get a good reaction. Being a good heel. My question is, how did this all happen? I know you had some elaborate storyline going on with the heel turn.
Our biggest thing was we were going to need another good face team to work with. So turning on you guys was the best possible scenario because
I'm asking how it happened.
If
I
there-
forgot about it. It's lost in the Mack memories.
yeah, no.
Hit him that hard.
I probably
No.
should be mad at you.
But no, turning on
Something,
you guys
but-
is the best possible scenario for us because
Okay.
if there's another team out there, the Hoods were kind of off and on at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they were there or not, or they were wrestling singles, or maybe had other tag partners.
I'm
or
glad I could help you out with that.
Yes.
Then.
And luckily, we've been able to put all of that behind us, so we can
And-
now coexist
and
and,
this-
do this podcast together.
I've listened to the Matt casts.
Thank
There's not a
you.
ton of kayfabe.
Right.
All right, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Not really. So you
conversation.
guys are getting a good reaction at that point too. So we figure if there's going to be anybody, but Kelly is to the moon over at this point. So we can't do that at this point.
Right. Yeah.
We'd still like to keep a manager. Castro's the best possible solution there.
Yeah.
Everybody loves to hate Castro.
He talks all that jive.
Yeah, so we were able to just kind of connect with him
Right.
from there to kind of help us with that too, just in case for some reason they didn't hate us as much as we wanted them to.
Right. So you guys turn
Yep,
just heels. Instantly fun.
instantly.
Just right away.
Instantly. In
Without a doubt.
in NCW they kept us face, so we were able to still kind of get
So,
that just
okay,
that little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
of yay,
We were heel in Liberty States.
Yeah, Liberty States we were heel.
They didn't know who we were. I mean, Liberty States ran up in Peabody, or
Yeah.
Peabody, as they say up there. So it's like, not many people, knew who we were when we walked in
Right,
there.
yeah.
So we got to be heels right off the bat. So it was a lot easier to just kind of get over, but it was still a lot of fucking fun.
Remember the old bald guy?
Oh god.
He hated me.
The
I
old
loved
bald
it.
guy.
We did the simple, the fake high five to his kid.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
lost his mind. Lost his mind. Would have loved to have gotten in the ring and killed me. And he had the Mean Gene haircut.
Yeah.
So I had gotten in the ring, and easy. He just looked up at me and said, I just wanted to see what I looked like in the top of your head. Lost his mind all over again. Instantly, we're the worst guys that have ever existed. It was great, though, because it was simple.
It sounds like a damn good time to
It was.
me.
It was a
It's
great
been
time.
so long. But, you find the guy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you guys turn heel. You're loving it up. What do you find you guys storyline wise? Feuding with us.
We were in a
going
feud
down.
with you guys. In Liberty States, it was the D.U.I. And NCW, it was just sort of a ragtag. And then it was Sopel and Gunner. That was like our main feud in NCW, which was a good feud. Both of those guys are good workers.
Yeah, they threw a few random teams at us. I know, like, we worked Vlad Joseph, First Class Vlad.
Yep.
And
That was
Mr.
a fun
Williams
match. Yeah, that was actually...
at some random
almost
Fox
forgot
Girl
about
show.
that match.
Don't know, how they ended up there. They've never been back since, but it was just a lot of, like, random, teams thrown together. And,
Now, was this leading up to your move?
The move, in all honesty, is it was kind of a left field sort of deal.
Out of
You know what
nowhere,
I mean?
kind
Like,
of thing.
Yeah, things started progressing for me at that point, and I had told Kellen. Kellen was pretty much the only one I told at that point. I said, "Listen, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to see what I think of it. And if I like it, I said, I'm probably just going to end up moving."
So you tried it out at first. As
Yeah,
like
I went down on a vacation, just kind of check it out, because
I see.
at that point, I
So
think
I'm guessing you met a lovely lady.
I did. And now I've actually just had a son about 6 months ago.
Oh, congratulations,
So
dude.
yeah, so everything has obviously progressed pretty well. But I went down there and I really liked it down there. So I had to come back and I told Ellen, I said, "Listen, we're gonna wrap it up here."
Now, did she live down there? Did you meet her down there?
I've actually known her for, I would say, probably about 10 or 11 years off and on. She knew a lot of the guys from RDW, and she used to go to those shows, but we never really connected like that there.
Right, yeah.
No, I don't want to skip a beat here. You guys are heel D.U.I.
Yep.
And eventually leads into... No, he's doing his thing.
He's got
I got something here. You're doing your thing as D.U.I. Like, I just don't want to miss anything between that. When you left, you guys were still heel at the time when the decision was made to move?
Yes.
Was there a babyface turn before leaving?
Not. I mean, we did a small face thing
because obviously
with
you're
you
gonna
guys,
leave.
Because I wanted to go out on the right note, and I
Yeah,
wanted to make sure
exactly.
you guys got your proper respect from everybody on
Giving
that
us a
too.
little torch.
Yeah,
It was
and
just a
that's
small
what that
one,
was.
though.
Yeah, it was
Lighter
not,
size.
It's not the biggest torch I could give you, but we gave
Thanks,
you what we
dude.
could, But I mean, I
Still
probably went
burning
out on
deep
a good
in my
note.
heart.
Yeah, I probably went out on a good note as far as with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do like a full face turn, but after the match was over, obviously, I did my little spiel.
Yeah, there was definitely the promo involved there.
Kelly Brooks did hers, and we, that was the the shoot. That was the felt.
Now, speaking of Kelly Brooks, like I said, I didn't want to jump over
go
anything. You said when you guys turned heel, she was still babyface at the time.
Yeah.
But then eventually there was some kind of scheme or plot.
We did. That was
Where-
when we took the WCW tag team titles. Was that we took them off of Ashworth and Davey Cash. It was Ashworth and Rick Fuller were the tag team champions.
Thank God he went to Africa or wherever the hell he went.
Best thing that's ever happened in my
At that
career.
point, when they won the straps, me and Will had been chasing for a while, and we were like, you know what? Nah, we're good.
Yeah.
I didn't even want him at that
Rick
point.
Fuller's
It
the
was fine.
champion. I
worry
don't
about
think
it.
I'd do it.
I love you, Rick.
He's doing a good job.
You do you.
Yeah.
And then he went on like some tour of like Ghana.
Yeah, and we were like, all right, let's take the belts.
Then we were like,
Yeah.
Let's get him while he's gone. But yeah, there was that. She came in and she did the run in under a hood and everything, and blasted.
She was supposed to be
Speed
someone
Star.
else, right? She was disguised as somebody else.
She was just. It
she
was.
was supposed to be.
intent.
We almost made her look kind of like franchise.
Yeah,
that was sort of like the
because a
deal,
franchise is skinny girl build, right?
Like, yeah.
It's lady
So
build.
I mean,
feminine hips.
Bird chest.
Really worked.
Yes,
And,
some
so
very
we were gonna
feminine hips.
cover her face and everything. She was wearing my clothes and shit, and she was gonna have the pink bat, which is franchise.
French, yeah.
But she didn't end up with the pink bat.
because we didn't have one.
okay, all right.
Because the franchise didn't show up because
He
it
may
was
be the
upset
only
you.
one. He
wasn't
may
there.
be the only one that
With the
owns
pink-
a pink
yeah,
bat.
yeah.
So
Okay.
instead, she took. I think it was Sergeant Malu's Billy Club.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, it
certainly.
was some sort of like club or flex stick. or
And before
something.
we're talking about it with Ash, and we were going over this
Before,
we
yeah.
started, and it's just, he's like, oh, just clock me in the head, and Kelly Brooks, she's a sweetheart. She doesn't want to hurt anybody. She's like, I don't feel comfortable with that.
Right.
I don't think that's gonna. He's like, no, it's fine, bro, it's fine.
She knocked him unconscious with it.
Fucking
Yeah,
guys,
but
fucking mean. Yeah, so Kelly Brooks runs in the ring and just cold clocks the shit out of Ash. And as I'm pinning him, I just hear, Jesus Christ!
I remember the fans' reaction that night because they were big on Kelly Brooks.
Yeah,
She was
and they almost saw a man
five-time bikini champion.
Yes.
I had.
I think she still owed money for that.
Yeah.
But no, that was the thing, is we had to bring her around in a way that they were going to now buy into it, and they were so used to, no matter who she was with and what she was doing, they were cheering her. You know what I mean? So we had to kind of go out and do our own thing and try to find a way for them to buy into it.
So let's talk about pretty much your last match, your retirement match. Were you happy with it? How everything went down? How the night ended?
I was, in all honesty. I mean, I thought we had a pretty good match with you guys. Yeah, we did a double shot that night too. But
Where'd you guys work prior?
We worked
after. Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, it was
we
right in the
wrestled,
beginning.
in NCW.
It's all coming back to me now.
We lost 3 titles in a
Good
week and a half,
goddamn.
2 weeks, something like that. Yeah.
Now, you said you did a double shot. After our match, you guys took off.
Yeah,
where'd you guys go?
We went to it was Dedham for NCW, which is like their big building. And we wrestled a 4-way. It was us, Ruination Slam, which was Thornhill and Rui,
Pacifico and
Resner, and Gunner and Sopel. Yeah, it was a 4-way tag match.
Now, obviously, the fans, they gave you, after the WCW match with us, they gave you the reaction. They all knew what was going on. You were leaving. Were these other fans NCW, you said?
Yeah, they didn't really know what was going on the way the WCW fans did. And a lot of that just is that NCW, they run multiple locations.
I see.
You know what I mean? WCW is solely basically Fairhaven based, so it's a lot easier for them to kind of know the ins and outs.
I gotcha.
NCW will go, Rhode Island and then some mid-Mass and things like that.
That was pretty much your last wrestling match. What's your feelings on that match? How did that go down?
Other than getting bent in half by Gunner and Sobel, it was a good match.
That's
honestly.
the way to go out, though.
Yeah, we beat the hell out of Resner, all of the other teams, and maybe even Pacifico. Pacifico might have taken a shot at him too, but we beat him for about 9 minutes.
John Thornhill hit his patented 450 knee drop.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Unintentional. It was supposed to be a regular 450, but the knee
drop.
And there were some eliminations and things along the way, but ultimately it ended up with me tapping out to Gunner and Sobel, which is the right way to do it.
Yeah. And did you end up rolling a tear that night?
I did not.
I
promised.
You cut that
him
promo saying
and myself that I wasn't going to do it.
I promised myself. I said by the end of this night I'm going to make this sumbitch cry. But
I refused to do it.
And that was the last match, right?
Well, there was the one night only reunion that we've had since then.
But as far as us, that was the last one we did. Yeah.
That was when the page was sealed.
Yep. That was our last one. Yeah.
So what was the one night only return thing? What
I usually come up here on vacation.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You don't usually get flown up by podcasts.
Yeah. No. Normally it's a vacation thing. But I happened to be in the area. I had contacted Candido and was just kind of like, hey, listen, I'm going to be in the area. Is there a show going on? And he said that there was, and we had kind of concocted the whole thing where Riot was in the process of feuding with Pyro for the belt.
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
you're wrong.
It could be.
Go ahead.
Correct me if I am, but was Anthony Stone banned that night? Was he not allowed for the D.U.I. reunion?
No, he was allowed in the building. He was not allowed.
He was not at ringside
because of their falling out. He was not allowed to come in the ring.
What was your feelings on that?
It's a piece of business between them,
But
unfortunately.
he was still there.
Would I like him to be in there? Yeah. I would like it to close out the right way and everything. But
all they really had to do was stand up and take a few steps forward.
He points.
He would have been at ringside.
He points him out during that promo. He says that he's in the corner and everything like that. We acknowledge him and everything.
Chris Benoit,
no, but it's it's their business. It never really had anything to do with
fair
me.
enough.
And
That's probably the best way to go about it.
Toes in that process. But yeah. So like I said, I had talked to Candido and there was a show, and we only got to wrestle the Hoods, I think, once. you know, and everybody always wanted to see us kind of work the hood.
Yeah,
So it was like, you know, well, let's do it again tonight. You know,
Now, how much time had you been out of the ring before that?
probably about a solid year.
Yeah, it was about a year.
You know, I think I left in May and I came up at that point in March, so just about a whole year.
Did you feel like you missed a beat, or?
I tried not to do too much,
Right.
so that I didn't miss too much of a beat.
Yeah.
But I mean, I hit all my stuff, and
D.U.I, if nothing else, has always known its limitations.
Yeah,
Right.
you know,
We
I
know
hit
what we can do.
I got all my stuff in, and we took some good bumps, and I think I forgot to breathe out on one of them and almost collapsed both of my lungs. But
that happens.
you know, it was a good spot. You know, we were able to kind of swerve the fans again at the end just for fun.
Yeah.
You know, so it was good.
Now, with that, you said you had a kid. It's been a couple of years since that DUI thing. Will we see?
Long already?
Will we see Will Thorne in the ring again?
I mean, if I get up here and I get the opportunity, absolutely.
No, you don't look down there really for anything, or
The unfortunate thing is where I am. I'm just outside of Orlando. I'm probably
Right.
like an hour from Orlando, and between NXT and TNA and everything that's going on down there,
not much
there's
else
not
running?
really. No, there was a small company for a little while in the city that I live in, and it would just so happen that I swear it was, you know, Dave booking it, because every time I had something to do, they ran a show.
Right.
You know, I would have something else to go and do, and they'd run a show. So I never
Yeah.
even really.
The RWA syndrome.
Yeah, so I would never. I never really got a chance to check with them and see what was going on.
So you're saying if the opportunity is right, the timing's right, you could pop up and see a DUI.
You never
reunion.
know when I'm going to pop up.
Right,
But
yeah.
that's basically the way it goes.
And so, do you have any comments, any advice to people breaking in, or even kids trying to do the tag team deal, because you seem to work in the tag team well? Like you said, you guys popped off for a bit. You have any?
I mean,
Any advice for those
if you're
kids?
just coming in, you got to get the training.
Right.
You got to, and I know that there's certain schools that everybody says you have to go to.
Right.
But there's still guys out there like Redemption and Brick House, and there's a lot of guys out there that can teach you a lot.
Right.
Brick House taught me so many of the little things. You know, I'd get up a certain way and be like, well, why are you doing that? I don't know. You know what I mean? And he'd be like, well, do this instead.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the little things that got tweaked along the way.
Brickhouse was great at teaching you how to get the most out of the least.
Right.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it's,
He
you
would
know.
show you, like, to this day, I you know, when I help out with JT's school and stuff on Wednesdays down in Providence, you know, and we go through some stuff, I'll think back to the trainings I took with Brickhouse, and I'll
Absolutely.
see guys be like, look, why are you going to move here, here, and here, when you could stand here and just do this, this, and this? And it's just, he was so good at teaching you, like I said, how to get the most.
It was a lot of the little psychological things that we don't think of. Like, I'd be near the ropes, but I wouldn't use the ropes to get up. It's like, well, why aren't you doing that? Like, I don't have a good answer for you. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly don't know. But like
my answer is I
yeah. So those things are huge. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? As far as the tag team thing is, I mean, you got to like each other.
Right.
A lot of these teams get thrown together and they can't even stand each
Just a
other.
couple of just singles
Yeah,
guys.
you know what I mean? Like, oh, maybe this thing will work. Like, no, until we really became good friends. Like,
Yeah.
our tag work was okay.
And like I said, that comes from the traveling together, you know, going on the road trips, doing the double shots. I mean, that was the best part of DUI. Let's not,
Absolutely, everything in between. It was just,
You know,
you can take.
from bell to bell, we had a great time, but it was before and after the.
Yeah, you guys were
that's
yourselves.
where DUI formed.
Yeah.
That's how
Absolutely.
DUI became what it was. Is because it wasn't just all right. I'll see you at the show. It was, you know, all right, I'm going to come out of work. I'll pick you up. We'll head here. We'll do this, and we'll head there. We'll do that. We'll go.
And
there,
it's
we'll go there.
it's getting all the little things. Get some gear together. Get the
Right.
get gear that matches.
A
You
good
know what
look.
I mean?
Just look good for your character.
Yeah, like believe
Like
in
you belong together.
Yeah, believe in what you're doing. You know, and a lot of that doesn't happen. It's two guys in random gear that are just out there to see if it works.
Right.
That's never work.
I mean, Mack, you have anything else, man?
New Republic Printing.
Oh, he's doing our plug.
Everybody, check it out. They hooked up with a good deal. We had Mack Cast, official Mack Cast hoodies made by them.
I am.
So you guys can check it out, newrepublicprinting.com. We've got to plug the sponsors, but luckily Monster Max here with the save, New Republic Printing. So no worries here. Secondly, that's right. I would like to thank you, Michael Thorne, for coming out.
Yes.
Thank you, man. I'm sorry we couldn't get you here first class, but
That's
you
all
know,
right.
we
That's
do
all
what
right.
we got to do.
Works the same.
I'm looking forward to the crate back.
He came over here in a banana boat.
Thomas Kellenthorne very much.
comma.
Riot Kellenthorne, my bad.
Nope. One more time. You got the first two letters.
Thomas Riot Kellen, comma.
Yeah,
You got
what
the
he
first two
said.
letters.
Thank you very much for
I got
coming
you,
down
Mac.
to the Mack Mansion. Training, I'm sure you have some words.
I got no words, dude.
You can't follow that.
I got nothing.
Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll check you out. You check us out next time.
That's how you podcast.